One of the things about when I first came into teaching, I was like, oh my goodness, are they going to respect me? Because first of all, I'm tiny. I'm a tiny person, and I look so young, and I get that all the time. Like, I don't look how old I actually am. And, you know, one of the first things they tell you is, oh, you have to, classroom management is so important. I kept thinking, what if I walk in there and they're going to overrun the classroom and it's this and it's that, and I have to look a certain way, I have to be a certain way. And I remember, when I first got in there, I was like, kids don't really care about how you look. It matters about how you treat them. That's what matters to them, is, how you are with them. And they're the first ones to call you out if they feel like you're being less than yourself. If they feel like you're being fake in any way, they will let you know. And I really appreciate that, especially about my kids. They keep me on my toes and they keep me honest, and they really help me, understand that it's how you treat each other, that mutual respect that you show each other.
What I would have liked to have known about teaching before I began my career is that there's rough days to it, but it's always worth it in the end. Like, sometimes the roughest days bring about these new joys. So, we'll have a really rough day in math and I'll think, oh, something's not working, or I'm not teaching it right. And then the next day, my students will come and be like, look at all this work I did at home. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I thought this wasn't going well. And next thing I know, it's like, oh, I didn't see it in the moment. And so there's always those little moments throughout it where you hear people that have these amazing experiences and every day is great, and you hear people that have the opposite, but really it's just this constant stream of nuggets of goodness that you just don't expect.
Your lesson plans don't always go the way that you plan them to, and you have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to adjust on the fly. One lesson might be amazing for that one period, and the second period they're not into it, and you have to figure out why. And I think a lot of times we're taught that this is our lesson, we're going to stick to it, and you have to be really, the ability to adjust. I think that's one thing that I would tell a young teacher, is that you have to be able to adjust and adjust quickly, and it's okay if things aren't always going the way that you planned them. You always got tomorrow too.
You have to give 110% every day. There are no, okay, I need a moment to relax with my coffee and some headphones. You're on all the time. So no matter what's going on, you just have to be ready and give it 110 all the time.
I think it would have been nice to have spent more time in classrooms, just to see different ways that people taught. So I had an idea of what teaching looked like, because we all have our experiences growing up. You have your standard social studies teachers, you have your standard science teachers, you have every kind of teacher that fits into a niche. It would have been really great in my years leading up to the credential program to go in, and even while I was in the credential program, I wish I would have done more of this, gone and see how different teachers approach that content, and how different teachers approach students. Because I remember, I won't give this person's name, but in third grade I had a terrible teacher. Oh my goodness gracious. And I look back and I was like, wow, that's one way that person handled students. But then along the way I had so many teachers that did an incredible job. So those stick with me. It'd be great to sit in a dozen classrooms, maybe more than that, and see this is how people do this. And just again, that preparation for understanding what this trade takes to have more things in your toolkit to become successful.